I'm Becca, just to be official, and today we're going to be talking about branding, but more specifically personal branding, because branding is a really broad term, and art and science and magic and whatever you want to associate with it, but it can be really broad because, I mean, it can cover everything from some person who just starts a blog in their living room to, Coca-Cola. So there's a huge spectrum of companies and people and businesses using branding, but we're going to kind of take it down to just personal branding. So if you're a coach, for you, that might mean branding what you do specifically as a coach, as an individual. If you're not a coach and you're here just, to talk about branding, that may mean, branding your blog and the way that you share on social media. For a lot of people nowadays that are creative, independent business owners, the style is moving more towards this lifestyle brand, which means that you're communicating this lifestyle that you live or that you want your customers to associate with. And so I think this will be really fitting for you guys that are kind of interested in that side of things too. All right, so let's dive in. First, I wanted to tell you guys a few things about me in case some of you guys here aren't on my team and don't know about me. I'm Becca. I have been a person since 1984. I have been a photographer, a freelance photographer, since 2008. I've been a wife since 2010, a mom since 2012, and a Beachbody coach since 2013. Currently, I am a 2015 Premier 2-Star Diamond coach. My talents involve anything that has to do with visual creativity, like photography or art or any of that kind of stuff. And on the opposite side of that spectrum, I am just horrible at math and numbers and logistical type things. I am really into yoga and mindfulness and paddleboarding, and I am a classic introvert, so I love deep conversations. I hate small talk. I love good light, beautiful light. I love to be in beautiful light in nature or in a beautiful place, and I really, really love sarcasm and dry humor, so if I make any jokes that are so dry that nobody gets them, I apologize in advance. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit, like I said, about personal branding. And to me, when I was trying to think about defining personal branding and what that meant, I was thinking that personal branding basically tells the story of who you or your business is without words. So it's basically a way to non-verbally communicate something about yourself. It's that simple. Good personal branding is visually cohesive. So when you're looking at, for example, I thought a good way to break this down would be when you're looking at someone's entire Instagram feed, someone with good personal branding, their feeds will be visually consistent. Let me quit Facebook so you guys don't have to listen to all of that stuff. Okay. All right, and then next, personal branding connects you to the brand, to the person that you're following. It basically kind of removes the veil, whereas back in the day, these businesses were like big corporations, and it was like the business and then the customers. Personal branding kind of takes that away, and it says, here's the story of who I am behind this business. Here's what matters to me. Here's why I do this business. And then a good personal brand has the effect of making someone who's looking at it think, I want to be that person's friend. So I don't know if you guys have ever, maybe you found somebody's blog and you just start obsessively reading back through their old posts and you're just like eating everything up. You think that they're just so cool. You're vibing with everything that they put out. And in your head, you're like, I could totally be best friends with this person. Like, we would hit it off in real life. And then all of a sudden, you realize that you start to kind of think of them like you're already friends because you're reading all about their life. And you realize, like, oh, I don't even know this person. That is a really phenomenal personal brand. That is an effective and really well done brand. So that is kind of a quick little way to kind of define what I mean when I'm talking about personal branding. And just to go back over this for you guys, these are the 3 Instagram accounts I put up. I put up mine and Janelle Summers and Base Body Babes. Base Body Babes are not actually Beachbody related at all, but they are fitness related. And so I put them up because they have an incredible personal brand. When you look through their stuff, you get a sense of these girls, that they're fun-loving, that they like health and fitness, but that they're not too wrapped up in themselves. Like, they don't take themselves too seriously. And that's something that's easy to connect to. And when I look at their Instagram feed, I think I could totally be best friends with these girls. Like, we need to hang out and take photos and do all this fun stuff. And that's how I know that their brand is so effective. Janelle Summers is a top Beachbody coach, and her brand, I wanted to show this example. For those of you who are maybe not the artistically inclined types, maybe when I'm talking about, visual cohesiveness and Instagram, you're kind of internally panicking and you're thinking, I'm not creative, I'm not going to be able to do any of this stuff. Janelle Summers is a Beachbody coach who is exceptionally successful, and she has a really, really strong personal brand, but she's not necessarily an artist at all. Her stuff is just mostly iPhone photos that are just edited with apps. But if you go and look at her feed, it's really consistent. Like, her style is very consistent. Her posts are very consistent. The types of stuff, like the genres of posts that she has, are really consistent. So for those of you guys who are maybe freaking out, thinking, I'm not an artist, I'm not creative enough to be good at this, you don't have to be. She's a perfect example of someone who is not necessarily doing this from an artistic standpoint, and she's still being really successful at it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about in this is, what are you about? So this is the first step to figuring out your personal brand, and the first step to having a really effective one. So you can't really start in communicating it until you know what it is. So who are you and what do you love? I know that this sounds so basic, but you really sometimes have to take a step back and think about it. If you are a coach, it's really simple for you to get wrapped up in everything Beachbody and all of the trainings and all of the other amazing, inspiring people out there. And you may start to kind of get almost like you kind of get into all of these things, and you start talking about all these things that maybe are not even necessary. You may like them, but they're not necessarily your things. They're just things you're kind of absorbing from this community. So what I want you guys to do is to really take a step back and say, who am I? What are the things that I like? What do I care about? And what am I about? If you're outside of Beachbody, if you're just, in social media, if you are a blogger or whatever, it can be the same thing. You can get caught up in this kind of keeping up with the Joneses, where you feel like you have to like something just because it's trendy, or because it's, what all of the top people are liking or doing, and you can kind of get lost from who you really are. And that is really a shame, because in personal branding, what's going to make you successful is being authentic, and not being like fake authentic, where you tell everyone you're authentic, but you just look like a carbon copy of everybody else. You have to actually be authentic. And I know that that can be scary, because when you actually put yourself out there, you open yourself up to being judged. And that is pretty much everybody's ultimate fear. Introvert, non-introvert, creative, not creative. It doesn't matter. Everybody's afraid of that. So it's much easier to kind of create a mask for yourself and say, this is going to be my social media mask. And this is going to be the social media Becca's interest, and the social media Becca's things that she posts about. But people pick up on that. People can tell when it's not really you, or when you're just a duplicate of someone else. Like, if you're out there taking the things that you think are popular or are trendy because other people are doing them, and you're trying to kind of create your own version of it, it's never going to be as effective as the person who's doing it from a genuine, authentic place. So you really have to step back. So I know that you guys may be thinking like, yeah, that's great advice, Becca, but I don't even know how to start doing that. I have no idea what to do. So here is a little personal branding, what are you about homework. So I think that it'll be a fun thing for you guys to do this week if you're getting stuck at this step. Here's what you do. You set a timer, and you have to set a timer. This is very important, because this assignment involves Pinterest, and if you don't set a timer, you're going to get sucked in there for hours. So be smart about this, you guys. Okay, so you set a timer for half an hour. I want you to grab coffee, tea, wine, whatever it is that makes you kind of feel like you're treating yourself. It's going to make you relaxed. It's going to make you kind of like enjoy this moment. And I want you to sit down in a quiet place. It can be after your kids go to bed. It can be when you have a moment alone. And you're going to create a new board on Pinterest, and you're going to call it Mood Board. And what you're going to do is you're going to just go through your normal Pinterest feed, and whenever you see a photo that you like, you pin it to your mood board. Now, here is the key to this exercise. You are not allowed to overthink this. You have to go with your gut reaction. You can't go to pin a photo and think, oh, this is stupid, or oh, this isn't going to match the other ones. It doesn't matter. This is just like, have you ever heard those free-flowing word association assignments where you basically just brain dump? This is like a visual brain dump. So this could be something that is a color that you like. Maybe it has nothing to do with anything that you're interested, but whatever color is the predominant color in the photo, you just really loved that when you saw it. That's fine. Pin that. Maybe it's a texture or a pattern. Maybe it's something that is, you just think that's really cool. Maybe it's a font. Maybe it's an inspiring quote that you saw. Maybe it's a photo of a place or just a portrait of someone, and for some reason, something in the photo really speaks to you. So you're going to do that for 30 minutes. If you get stuck, maybe if you're not following a lot of people on Pinterest yet, yeah, food's allowed. Whatever appeals to you. This is your thing. So you can do whatever it is. But it has to appeal to you at kind of a gut intuition level. So you have to just go with it. Quick. If you don't have a lot of people that you follow, or maybe like your Pinterest kind of news feed or homepage doesn't have a lot of stuff, then just think about some of the things that you like. Maybe it's food, maybe it's recipes, maybe it's a place you want to visit, or just a hobby or interest. Then search by that and then just start picking out stuff. Okay, so when the timer goes up, I want you to go to your mood board and open it up so it's the only thing you see. And I want you to look at the whole page. You know how you can look at Pinterest boards like an inspiration board where all the photos are there as a thumbnail? You're going to look at it, and then you're going to take a piece of paper and you're just going to write down things that you notice as common themes. So this could be a color. This could be a type of font. This could be a phrase or a location or a common element that you're seeing in different images. So to keep this from being confusing, I went ahead and did one for myself so that you guys could see. So this was my mood board that I put together. So see how when you go out to the main page of your board, you just see all the photos? So I want everybody to look at this. I know it's small because it's in the presentation window, but what are some of the things that you see predominantly sticking out? Just type them into the chat box. What are things that you see as like, yeah, lots of blue, cool colors, definitely water, turquoise, hair, yeah, perfect. This is exactly the same things that I noticed, you guys. Calm, yes, that's great. All of these things. And so I started to write them down, and I thought, these are definitely things that I like that appeal to me. And beyond just the normal things like, oh, I like cooking, or I like paddleboarding, or I like yoga, because that is great, but lots of people like yoga and lots of people like cooking and talk about it. So what is it about those things that are specifically you? So for me, I noticed all of those things that you guys kind of said. Gems, yes, absolutely. I wrote that down. You can see it in there. Messy hair, movement. A lot of these photos have some sort of like movement happening that I loved. There's metallic roses. There's lots of like cool tones. And it made me think, this is brilliant because this shows me things that I can use and incorporate into my brand. When I look at my own personal brand, it should be cohesive like this, with themes like this, with elements. Like you look at that and within 2 seconds, you're going to judge and say, yeah, I totally like that too, or oh, that's not really my thing. And that's exactly what I want someone to think when they come to my Instagram, when they come to my blog. I want it to be cohesive enough and communicate the and care about enough that someone can make a split-second decision whether or not they think that they care about it too. Because the thing about personal branding is that this is not an invitation to every single person in the world. Personal branding narrows your audience, which is exactly what you want it to do. You want it to weed out people who are not a good fit for what you're doing. And so this is kind of a way of doing it without having to do any work. Okay, next, what is your message? So what I mean when I say that is, what do you want people to connect with you about? So some possible themes that are popular among bloggers, Instagrammers, coaches, all of those kind of people, I wrote them here. Motherhood, yoga, do-it-yourself, party planning, being young, being older, being an artist, spirituality, humor, being a gym rat, like being super into fitness, financial freedom or financial responsibility, personal growth, sisterhood, infertility, or other health issues. That is a really big one. That's a huge part of some people's stories. And the ones that are brave enough to speak about that, it really can become a powerful part of their personal brand. Music, health transformations, plus size, super skinny. I've seen both of these used in personal branding in a really beautiful way. So your message, here's why this is important, you guys, and I want you to really pay attention to what I'm about to say. I know that everybody tells you you need to figure out, your things that you're into. You need to pick these 3 to 5 topics and rotate between them. You need to know your why. You need to know this and that. And you may be thinking that's great, but what's the big deal about it? Well, this is why. This is the key. Your message is why someone is going to come to you instead of to me when they want the same thing that both of us are offering. So let me say it again. Your message, the thing that you want people to connect with you over is why someone is going to sign up with you as a coach instead of me. Why someone is going to hire you as their graphic designer instead of the other person that they know that does it. It's why they're going to hire you as their photographer instead of someone else, or your business instead of your competitor, because they connect with you on a person-to-person level. That is what personal branding is about. But here's the thing. If you're not really being you, if you're just trying to be some sort of what you think people want you to be or what you think you're supposed to be, then you're not going to get this connection with people. People are going to be choosing you for the wrong reasons. Yeah, I'll upload the slides as a PDF. People are going to be choosing you guys for the wrong reasons. And then what's going to happen is there's going to be this weird tension in everything that you're trying to do in your business because you're not really connecting with these people at the right level. So that's why this is so important to figure out what your message is. Okay, so let's do a quick brand study of some of the top Beachbody coaches. For you guys here that are not Beachbody coaches, it's okay that you don't know who these people are because the principles are really universal. Okay, so I went to Facebook this week and I pulled timeline cover photos from a bunch of different successful Beachbody coaches. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at them. We're going to if there are words on them, I want you guys to try and not pay attention to the words on them. I want you to just look at it visually. And I want us to kind of think about, what is this saying about these people's personal brands? Now, all of these people, I feel like they have very strong personal brands. So that's why I use them as an example. And these are all different brands. They're all communicating different things. Okay, so let's start with Amy Silverman. She's this first one. What are just some words that come to you from her cover photo? What is this communicating to you? Free spirit. Absolutely. Yeah, I like that one. What else? Adventurous. Outdoorsy. Yep. Open-minded transformation. Woman Crush Wednesday. Laid back. Tough. Yes. Brave. Very, very good. All of these are things that I completely agree with. And these are all things that I think are very truthful about Amy Silverman's brand. If you go and you look at the rest of her stuff, I would say that that is across the board what she communicates. So let's look at Brittany Legette's brand. It's the next one I have on here. Tell me what you guys, try not to pay attention to the words on here. Don't just repeat those. Tell me what else you think from here. Yeah, cheery, cute, power, confident, sisterhood, happiness, classy, yes, simple, friendship, fresh, perfect, yes. These are all things that I 100% agree are from Brittany Legette's brand. 2 very successful coaches, 2 completely different personal brands. Do you guys see what I'm saying about how it's okay to not be the same as everybody else? So let's think about this. Someone who sees both of these coaches and they are interested in coaching, if they are someone who is maybe a little bit more bohemian, maybe they are more of a free spirit, maybe they are a little bit, I I don't know, a little more wild, a little less put together, which one of these coaches are they going to connect with more? Just instantly, gut reaction. Exactly. It's going to be Amy. It's a no-brainer. Like, this is a simple thing. Now, if there's someone who comes and they are this, you know, like, really cute girl next door, super into sisterhood, but like very smart, like pretty, but like very smart and very driven and motivated, and they want to do something that's fun and that gets them together with other people, and they care about the relationships in their life and all of that kind of stuff. Based on these two brands, which one are they going to go with? Brittany. Yeah, exactly. Brittany's photos are showing this sisterhood. She's showing relationships. She's got a photo of her and her husband. She's got that, like, strong, beautiful, confident, but still, like, lighthearted and fun kind of thing going on in her photos. That is absolutely it. So this is why this is so important, because Brittany is that person, and Amy Silverman is that person. They're not communicating something that they are not. So when the people that are drawn to them come to them, they're going to be such great fits for each other, and they're going to really be able to do something awesome together because they're going to click. Just that same way that I was telling you before, when you're seeing someone's stuff and you think, oh my gosh, I could be that person's best friend. Like, we would get along so well. This is exactly it. Wouldn't you want people coming into your coaching team or coming into your business to work with you that are just going to be like soulmates for you, basically? That's so much easier than having someone come to you that just doesn't jive with you. Like, you guys can't really find a common ground. That's not the right match. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Let's keep going. Okay, the next one is Melanie Mitro. She's our current #1 coach in the organization. Try not to read the words again. Tell me what her stuff communicates to you just by looking. Family, absolutely. Yeah, that's a big one. Family-oriented, motherhood, yep, definitely. Yeah, team, I think team's kind of feeling. Steelers fan, yep, maybe Northern, yep, determined, perfect, yes. So when I look at Melanie Mitro's stuff, when I look at her personal brand, what I feel, the vibe that I get is that she is a mom, that she is a family maker, and that is a very, very big aspect of her life, that she is almost like a remarkable businesswoman, but like you feel like you would run into her at a kid's soccer game and she would just be like this cool person that you could, like hang out with. That she has that team spirit. She has these photos of some of her top leaders up here right next to her, and they're all, got their arms around each other. Down to earth. Now here I think is a very, very specific thing about Melanie Mitro's brand has a very like humble roots vibe to it. Melanie Mitro talks about how, she's just a mom, how she built everything from her kitchen table. If you were, okay, let's now look back at these 3 that we've talked about. Let's say you're a mom and you have 3 kids running around at home and you feel frazzled and you feel like your family is stuck in this hamster wheel where you're never really getting ahead financially, where you want your kids to be able to go do these fun things. You want to be able to put them in soccer camp. You want to be able to take them out to football. You want to be able to do these things, but you don't know how to do it and you don't feel like you have someone that it can even be an inspiration. Which one of these 3 coaches are you going to connect with the most? Obviously, Melanie Mitro. She is going to be the one that all of the moms that want to do something, but they don't feel like a mom that is stuck at home with 3 kids is not really, unless they're like a gypsy spirit at heart, is not going to connect with Amy Silverman's like free-spirited. She doesn't have kids. She's always traveling. They're not going to really connect with her the same way they're going to connect with Melanie. So that's why this is so important. Okay, and then lastly, I wanted to put this one up because this one is a really great example that is really simple. So I know a lot of you guys are like, I'm not creative, or I don't want to put a collage up or whatever, because it seems like everybody has the same thing. Here is Morgan Rieger, and she is the #1 female Canadian coach right now, and this is one of her timeline photos. Now, this is not a collage, so you guys are going to have to dig a little bit deeper about what this communicates, because maybe it's not as easily shown, but I still think that Morgan has a very strong thing that she's communicating here. Yes. Minimally positive. Yeah. Straightforward. Hit me with it. Professional. Yep. Does more with less. Very good. Welcoming. Red is strong. Absolutely. Open. It's not showing on yours. Oh, I'm sorry. Confident. Determined. Yep. All of these things. That is so great. You guys hit the nail on the head. See, you guys are better at this than you think you are. You guys can't see any of the slides, or you just can't see Morgan's? That's so strange. You can see Melanie Mitro's? Yeah, Morgan is on the bottom, the one with the red. Okay. Well, I can't really change the slides right now, so we're just going to have to keep going. If not, you guys can look at them when I upload the PDFs later and kind of catch back up. So I agree with everything that you guys said. So Morgan's communicates all of those things, the more with less, the open, but still like powerful, driven. She's got this like beautiful red color that's a strong color. Like red is like, that's like a determined, like powerful color. But then you've got this girl who's like pretty and she's smiling and she's not looking straight into the camera. It looks like, you know, she doesn't take herself too seriously. But she's still, you know, like she's standing there real strong. She's got good body language, all of this kind of stuff. And then she does have words on hers that says, I aspire to be a giver of strength, a giver of love, and a giver of good vibes. So if you do read it, you instantly go, oh yeah, like she looks like a nice person. Like she looks like she's on top of her game and smart and determined and like she's going to actually like make stuff happen. And so maybe if you were a single girl that didn't have kids and you were looking between her and Melanie Mitro just based on these photos, you may connect with Morgan way, way more because you may think like, I don't have kids. I'm not a stay-at-home mom. Like I'm a career person. So how am I going to have someone to connect with? So this is why all of these brands, all different, all across the board, are such great tools because that's exactly what you want to happen is you want the people who are going to be good matches for you to connect with you right away just based on what you're showing them. Okay, lastly, getting your message out there. So there's tons of ways to do that. We're just going to focus on social media today because that is one of the easiest accessible tools for everybody across the board. So what I think everybody should do is start with just 1 or 2 social media channels until you guys get them really down. I don't want you guys to go out and think you have to start accounts on all of these and manage them all right away. My rule of thumb is start with 1 or 2 if you feel comfortable with 2. And when you've mastered those 2, step out into other ones. Now I broke it down for you guys based on kind of what I think is the skill set that makes for the best people on each of these. So I want you guys to pick ones that go naturally with what you're better at. If you are really great at photography or photos or you're really visual, then you're going to rock on Instagram. But you may not rock on a blog because to be a blogger, you have to combine words and photos. And I think that with blogging, words are a little bit more important. So you have to be able to write and you have to be able to think up stuff to write to have a blog. Now on Facebook, I think it's a combination like a blog, but it's flip-flopped. Because on Facebook, you still have to have some good photos. Because in everybody's news feed, it's just noise all day. And even if you have written something really beautiful and compelling and that's going to pull up people's hearts, it could get lost in that newsfeed. And having a really great photo is what's going to make people stop and look. And lastly, videos. Maybe you're really good in person or you're a great communicator when you talk, but you can't really write out your thoughts that well or communicate them visually. So maybe doing a YouTube channel is the best thing for you. And I want you guys to think outside of the box because YouTube doesn't just have to be like big production videos. It doesn't just have to be training. It doesn't just have to be transformation. You could use YouTube like a blog and you could just talk about stuff that you want to talk about that's important to you and build it up that way if that's the way that you communicate best. The key is not in the platform. There's not one platform that's like the magical platform that's going to bring you success. The key is that whichever one you choose, you're consistent in both frequency and look or style. So let's talk a little bit about that consistency. Remember your mood board exercise? You're going to draw inspiration from that for your style, and you're going to use that to kind of help you narrow down what you want to be portraying. So the mood board is not necessarily an end-all be-all. Like Just because blue and water came up in mine doesn't mean that I have to incorporate that, because if you go to my Instagram, there is a lot of blue and a lot of water. So I thought it was kind of spot on, but it doesn't mean that it's, the rule. And if you have something that, you don't want to do, you don't have to do it because it's in your mood board. But use it as like a yardstick to kind of help you measure the things that appeal to you that you can use to kind of help style yourself a little bit. Now, remember your message on top of that. Pick 3 to 5 of those. You remember how I told you some common themes? Pick 3 to 5 of those that are like really the ones that stand out in your life, and rotate between them in your posts or your blog posts or your Facebook posts or your YouTube videos or whatever, so that you're communicating these different aspects of yourself that are your message, that are what you want. Remember, this is what a message is. Your message is what you want people to connect with you over. So maybe your message is, yoga and traveling and food. Like, those are the things that you want to connect with people over. So that's the stuff that you're going to talk about the most. And what you're going to do is not stray from that too much. Now, here's where I think people get lost. Yes, social media is a great way to connect with your family and friends, but if you are using it primarily for your business, then you have to keep that in mind as far as your personal brand is concerned. If you are constantly sharing stuff that doesn't align with what you're doing for your business's message, your business's style, it's going to what's called dilute your brand. And it basically makes it so that people can't connect with it as quickly or as efficiently, because now there's stuff splattered all throughout it that's kind of mucking up the overall look. So I'm not saying that it's bad to post photos that, are outside of your normal spectrum, and every now and then it's okay. But for example, if, pets have nothing to do with your message that you want to communicate, then don't pepper your stuff with photos of your dog that are just random because you thought he looked cute. Text that to your friends or family, or put it on a social media channel that's not the one you're using as your primary business, because that's just going to dilute it. And now, if you love your dog and you want to make your dog part of your brand, a coach that has done that really well is Katie, like a pet mom, and that's totally cool, and people bond with her over it. That's totally something you can do. But if that's not part of your message, leave it out. And then lastly, stand out from the rest. So some things you can do to help you do that are upping your photography game, taking your writing up a notch, being a little more thoughtful and careful about what you write about, and don't be a duplicate of your favorites. That was what I told you guys before. Okay, so let's talk really quickly about a few photography tips that can help you guys take your photos up a notch, because no matter what platform you pick other than YouTube, photos are going to be included. So I thought I would give you guys some tips. Now, all of these are photos of mine, and all of them are from my phone. So these are not fancy. They're not stuff that you guys can't do. I didn't put any legitimate photos from my photography business or career in here, because I want you guys to see that this is just simple iPhone stuff. Okay, the photo on the left is just an iPhone photo from my kitchen. The photo of the right is actually a photo in this very room. So when you're taking photos, I want you guys to look for open shade or natural light. Both of those are universally flattering on all different skin colors, and for a big source of natural light when you're inside, like a window. So that photo on the right was taken, I was sitting on the ground right behind where I'm sitting now, facing this big window during the daytime, and my curtains were open. So that is a big, big source of natural light, and I have this really nice even light on my face. The colors are a lot better. Now the photo on the right was taken at night in my kitchen, and I was lit by a light over my head. So do you guys see all the weird shadows under every part of my face that sticks out, basically? So like under my eyebrow bones, under my... As good of a look for me as the one on the right. It's not as flattering. It's dark. The colors are all muddy. It's not as good. Like, in a pinch, it'll work if you want to share something. But if you take a little bit more time to be a smidge more intentional, you're going to end up with better looking photos with better color that are more flattering for yourself and the people in them. Next, try the self-timer app. If you don't have a photographer that lives with you like me, then you may need to try having a self-timer. Mirror selfies are great. They're fun. They annoy some people. I dig them, so I post them. But sometimes it's nice to have a photo where all of you is in the photo and half of the photo is not your arm with a camera like this. because it's just not as fun, and you can't really connect exactly the same way. So maybe you're traveling and there's like a beautiful landscape and you want a photo of you in it. Well, rather than having to like turn around in the landscape like this, you could use the self timer and actually get in the frame. Or if you're with a bunch of people, or if you want to do something like a headstand or a handstand or a toe touch or whatever it is that you like to do. If you have an iPhone, the new operating system has a 10-second timer built in, but if you need more time than that, there are self-timer apps that go up to like 30 seconds and even more that you can download and get your whole self in the frame. Okay, let's talk a little bit about creative compositions and content marketing, because this is what I get asked about probably the most. First, let's talk about compositions. And I know that people get overwhelmed because that's like a legitimate photography term, but it's really, really not that scary, I promise. Composition just means the way that a photo is laid out. So here are two similar in idea photos. Both of these are photos of some sort of book that is happening in. The photo on the left is just a boring kind of photo of my coffee and my 2 books that I was reading that day. Hey, look, another boring coffee shot, just like we see all day long on Instagram. And then the one on the right is a scroll stopper. You guys, I posted this photo and I got like 100 new Instagram followers. Like, this photo just blew up. Everybody totally dug it because it has a much better composition. It's much more interesting. Now, this photo on the right also has some content marketing happening. So I want you guys to see what I mean about that. So content marketing is basically like using the stuff in your photos to communicate extra things about your brand. So the photo on the left just has a coffee cup and books. I guess that's technically content marketing, but it's just not nearly as good of a story. The photo on the right tells you so much more about me. So the photo on the left just tells you that I'm drinking coffee, which that's not original. Like, everybody is drinking coffee in the morning, and reading some books, which, okay, books are, we're taking it up a step because not everybody reads real books, but still not impressive. The photo on the right, though, was really intended to only be a photo of my new, it's called the Day Designer. It's like an organizer. I got a new organizer and I was excited about it, so I wanted to take a photo. But I took a little bit more time and I thought, well, what else can I put in this photo that's going to communicate something about me, and how can I take this photo in a more interesting way? So instead of having my coffee cup in my lap and just shooting like this while I'm sitting there, which is how I took the first photo, I laid everything out on the table and I shot it straight from above like this as I was getting ready to write my name in my planner. And then I threw in some other things that just happened to be around me on my desk. I threw in the washi tape that I use for my planner because it's pretty and it tells people that I'm creative and that I like to have fun with my planner. I have my little bowl of pretty gemstones on my desk, and I was like, let me throw that in there and let me pull a few of my favorite ones out that I think have to do with organization and creativity. I have some of my essential oils that I'm always burning in my house. So now this photo on the right communicates a way bigger story about me than the photo on the left. And instantly, people looked at this photo and thought, I dig this girl. I like essential oils. I like washi tape. I think we could be friends. And then they followed me on Instagram. And that is exactly what you want to happen. The photo on the left communicates really nothing about me and had no effect like that. To answer your guys' questions, yes, the photo on the right is just natural light, a tabletop that's near a big window inside my house. Both of these were inside my house, just the one on the right is lit better. Okay, moving on. Last, and this is so important. If you guys are using your phone primarily, like most of us do, edit with a consistent look. So I know that there are all of these photo editing apps and they have all of these like fun bells and whistles and filters and effects and writing and shapes, and they're all great, and you can incorporate them into your brand in whatever way that you want. But here's the thing, it has to be consistent. So if you are using filters and design elements and different writing, fonts, different stuff like that, pick 2 or 3 and always use those ones. Okay, so I would say pick 2 color filters that you like and 1 black and white filter, and always edit your photos If they're color, with one of those two colored ones, and if it's black and white, with the same black and white. If you like putting borders on your photos, always put the same size border. If you like writing on your photos, like using the apps that write, use the same fonts. Use the same one or two fonts. Maybe one that's just a straight font and one that's a scripty font, and always use the same ones. If you're putting elements on your photos, like if you're using, I don't even know what all the apps that you guys use to put stuff on your photos are, but if you're using these apps that put like the bars of color or the shapes of color or all these different overlays, just pick a few and always stick with those ones. Because here's what happens. When someone looks at your brand overall, like think Instagram grid or Facebook newsfeed, all right? They're going to see all of these photos that you've posted. Now look, about a year ago now when I wasn't really paying much attention to consistency, look at these. These are all over the place. This is what I call multiple editing personality disorder. You can't get a good vibe of who I am from these photos. It looks like 3 different people took and shared these photos. If I gave you these photos, you would think, I don't know that was the same person who took all of them. We got this weird vintagey yellow toning. We got this weird vintagey blue toning. We got this like dark, almost black and white. We got this like weird water photo that's kind of dark and moody. Like, I don't know what's going on with this person. They're kind of all over the place. Not what I want to communicate with people. Now on the right, way more cohesive. If I showed you those 4 photos, you would instantly think, yes, they all belong to the same person. Or even better, and what you want to eventually happen, if I showed you one of these photos away from the other 4, you would go, oh, that looks like one of Becca's photos. And that is where the magic starts happening, you guys. That is what you want to start happening. You want people to look at something and before they even saw who posted it, know that it was you. If I see a photo show up in my feed and it's like this kind of like vintagey, kind of like crazy landscape, there's a pretty good chance that it's going to be Amy Silverman's newest post update. You know what I mean? Like, that is what you want. That is that recognition that you want in your branding, the switch that you want to go on, because that is how people connect with you on a core level, and that is what's going to bring you the business and the people to your business that you really want and need. Okay, finishing up. Your call to action, your homework. I want you guys, if you get stuck on point 1, trying to figure out what you're about, I want you to do the mood board exercise that I gave you. I want you, if you get stuck on number 2, to narrow down your message to 3 to 5 words. And then, take some time to maybe just like do a brain dump and write out all the words and things that you're into that you think would be a cool thing to have as a part of your brand that you want to connect with people over. Write them all down and then narrow it down to 3 to 5 that you feel like you can consistently do a good job communicating. That's one other thing. I don't mean to derail. Just because you're really into something and you think it's one of your main things doesn't mean that it needs to be part of your message. Now, your message needs to be something that you feel like you can continually communicate well. So just because you're a mom doesn't mean that being a mom has to be part of your message if you don't really want to talk about your kids or being a mom. Do you guys know what I mean? So just because you do have an aspect of yourself, it doesn't mean that you have to incorporate it. Pick things that you are passionate about that is going to be fun for you to share. Because if it's fun for you to do it, you're going to do it more. You're going to do it with more passion, with more authenticity, and you're going to do it with way more consistency. And that is so, so, so important. Choose your platforms based on your strengths. Don't just use Facebook because everyone else is using Facebook. Don't hop on Instagram because Chalene Johnson told you that Instagram is the new thing. Don't get on YouTube if you hate doing videos, you guys. Pick the ones that are based on what you are good at, and that's going to help you so much more. Okay, up your photography game with those few simple tweaks, and you're going to get a lot more people stopping to look at your stuff, to actually read what you're saying and listen to what you're talking about. Lastly, your brand is going to evolve as you do. As individuals, as creatives, as entrepreneurs, as coaches, as artists, we are constantly in a state of change. We are never the same. We are growing. We are working on becoming a better version of ourselves. We are always kind of just in a transition, I guess you could say. We're never, never, never stagnant. So your brand is not going to be either as a personal brand. It's going to evolve, and that's okay. So be open to letting it evolve as you evolve. Maybe a year from now, you're going to get into a new hobby that you don't even expect now, and that's going to become a huge part of your brand. You guys, if you would have asked me 2 years ago if I was going to be talking about doing headstands on a paddleboard as a main part of my brand, I would have laughed in your face. But that is a huge part of what I love to do and connect with people about. And I would have never anticipated that. So be open to that kind of thing. Lastly, and probably most important out of everything I'm going to say tonight, is do not be afraid to stand out from the pack. Don't be afraid to talk about something that you really care about just because not a lot of people are talking about it. Don't be afraid to share a part of yourself just because it's not trendy. Don't be afraid to really let who you are out, because when you do, if it really is different, it's going to only serve you, because it is going to separate you from the masses, and that is what you want to happen. You want to be able to stand out in people's minds, and when people think, oh, I need a person for this, or I need a person for that, oh, so-and-so, I remember that they were talking about something. They looked like they were so excited about it or so passionate. Or someone's thinking, I want to get in shape, but I don't really like working out. I'm not into fitness and all this stuff. Oh, so-and-so, I know that they're the same way. They've been, posting about how they're making it work with their kids and all of this kind of stuff. That's what you want to happen. You want to be differentiated. Okay. I'm going to open it up for about 5 minutes here. If anybody has any questions that they want to ask in the chat window. And then if you guys want to connect with me, here are the ways that you can. You can follow me on Facebook or Instagram, or I have a blog, all of those different ways. I'm real easy to find online, you guys. But if you guys have any questions, yeah, I'm recording it, so hopefully there's no glitches and I'll be able to get it to you guys. If you have any questions, ask in the bottom. I'll stay